Hey, welcome back. Another episode, Farmer James Mountainside Beekeeping. I thought I'd say hello to everybody who has been tuning in, and thank you folks for tuning in to my episodes, my little talks about my mountainside bee hobby. And as you can see here, if you've been following, my hives have grown um, based on my need to grow my backyard apiary, small slash micro bee farm, soon to be a larger bee farm, so that I could sell more of Farmer James Mountainside honey. And as you can see, yes, I've been busy also planting my garden, trying to fulfill a lot of things that I want. And, as we all know, things are getting kind of expensive out there. So I've been trying to manage my bees, also manage my vegetable garden, my system to keep things going so that I can also keep me going so that I can keep the bees growing and doing what I want them to do so that I can get that beautiful Farmer James honey. But folks, welcome back. Thank you folks for tuning in. Thank you new subscribers. Please subscribe to Farmer James Mountainside Honey so I can share with you how I grow from 7 to now, and I believe I have 38 colonies. Yes, I did purchase 10 queens, and those queens are in the 5-frame nukes over here. And I placed in these boxes 3 frames of brood. And at this time of year in Vermont, you really want to make sure you do that kind of thing because you want these colonies to grow. And what do I mean by that? I want them to grow as soon as pretty much by the fall, where I have at least 2 deeps. So I want them to grow. I want to make them grow. And I've been doing a lot of things to get them to grow so that they can make it through a Vermont winter and be strong colonies. So I've been doing a lot of things with these bees, and also with learning, and that's probably why sometimes I come on and give you an episode. I might trip, fall, even in my brain sound a little scrambled, but it's because I'm doing a lot. And I'm out here early this morning. It's about 9 o'clock, 60 something degrees, actually 61. So it's really, for me, it's a great time to be in the bee yard. It's also a great time to show you folks what's going on with my bees and the activity that's going on in my bee yard. And like I said, folks, we have a variety of things going on. And you could see, like I said, I have a row here of 4 frames of brood, and actually, really, 3. 3 and probably some broods that I really are in a little bit of larva, all phases as well. But I really wanted to get those hives growing exponentially so they could catch up with my other walkaway nukes that I have in small boxes. So you probably see these big ones here, and I've showed you before, these colonies across the front. They're doing pretty good, and they're basically in 3 deeps, 2 supers, and so forth. But these hives here, these hives going across the front were the supers that I started out with. And actually, let me start all over again. These were my survivor colonies. I split these colonies and started colonies in the other row in the back. So in the back row, you will see here where I've started their daughters. Okay, so yes, so this is a survivor. That was a split. It failed. So basically, I'm not sure what I'm doing with that. I'm basically allowing it to fill with bees. These bees are pissy, and I've taken away a deep of those and supplied them to my California bees. Okay, so that back row right there, yeah. The back row are where I use the bees basically from over here. Is it working? I'm not sure. Kind of running away from mosquitoes, so anyway, I'm just utilizing bees, all right? These bees here, folks, are just bringing in a lot of nectar, so that's why I decided to just utilize them, and I use those in those back row of those new queens I got, and they're all carniolan queens. But aside from that, these bees are what they are. They're still pissy. They're basically producing and bringing in nectar, so I'm not wasting them, and they're not really wasting any valuable time, except they know what their mission is, and their mission is to get that nectar, get that survival going, keep themselves growing. And you see my apiary is growing, and that's a good thing. But the nectar flow has been really kind of up and down, and it's been a challenge for these colonies to grow, and you could see it. All right, so like I said, this colony here is a pissy colony, so I'm just using those bees. That is a box full of bees. I've taken a deep already of those bees, and I've used them for these California queens I got right next to that monster. That monster is another survivor colony. So all my survivor colonies are already in 3 deeps, 2 supers, okay, and or the 2 deeps, 2 supers. So again, that's after making splits, and those splits are along this row, and those are open mated queens. Those are the queens, which are cells from the walkaway splits of the survivor colonies from last winter, and I decided to split all of those. So those are the survivor colonies out of all of the different splits I made of them, including in the back row next to the California girls. Yeah, so a lot of stuff is going on in Farmer James's apiary. All right, so don't really want to make it too confusing, but it is. But yes, that daughter right there, that's an open mated queen taken from that mother, which is 3 deeps. And oh, I'm sorry, 2 deeps, 2 supers. Again, some are 3 deeps, some are 2 deeps. So let's just walk here. Let's see how we can get a little bit closer so we can see what's going on and have a little different angle. So again, I had to start by making my walkaway splits. I made those walkaway splits it's been about a month ago. Well, yeah, duh. So I would say, yeah, early May, I started those walkaway splits so that I could get these colonies. And you can see in the back row, the second row here. Okay, so that's the first row. So this is my second row, which are mostly splits. All right. So that's how I'm doing it, folks. So in my back row, these are all splits. Okay, except that one big hive, which is that survivor hive that I was talking about. All right, so pretty much that's what I really wanted to do, is kind of make sure that I kept all my splits away from my major hives. And this is what I'm just testing out. This is my own idea. You know, after watching a lot of videos, after getting the science, after writing articles about beekeeping and focusing on mountainside beekeeping, I realized, yes, you know, based on how I'm setting up this area, this is helping me manage the bees in my backyard. Again, this is a micro operation. I'm trying to develop a system here that I could share with a lot of other backyard beekeepers and show you that based on where you are. I mean, I'm in a mountain, so I have my backyard is about 40 acres more. Well, yeah, definitely more. About a couple hundred acres of forest behind me, folks. So, yeah. Again, welcome to Farmer James Mountainside Beekeeping. And if you haven't subscribe, like, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Give me your opinions. I mean, this all row, again, just this side of town, or walk away splits I made. Other side of town are those 10 California carniolas I got. And I had to take brood away from the back row um, because all the bees are still making. And I'll show you some ingredients and stuff like that, all right? Because I've been given, like I said, a lot of the different things just to help them grow, to help them get whatever they need, because this rain, again, it's a cloudy day. Luckily, it's not raining, and it's early in the morning. It's cool after days of heat. I've given them the space they needed so they can grow. The smaller bees are not growing fast as I want them to. And again, that's based on Mother Nature, where we've gotten a lot of rain, so a lot of the resources have been washed away. But a lot of those hives that splits I did make, some of them are in double deeps, but they're daughters of the monsters. But actually, the strong ladies that are great survivors, that are Carniol and Russian mutts that I got last year, and they gave me a lot of honey. Oh, let's walk past the giant elderberries after I destroyed them, folks. Those things are now above my head. Love these elderberries. They're now starting to flower. They gave me bags and bags of elderberries, and yeah, I can't wait to make some medicine with their beautiful honey. So, yes, look at these package bees and look at what's going on with them. And the package bees are growing a very, very strange way, as you could see. So, all I could tell you is this. Based on your queens and how they lay, sometimes you might get this kind of array. If you use a double nuke system, this helps me manage the bees pretty well so I can gauge how the queens are doing. So that's why I like using this double nuke system. You hear that knocking? That's a woodpecker behind me. That's nobody. I'm not outside. Yes, I'm outside, right? So that knocking is a woodpecker. Ignore that woodpecker. Anyhow, yep, there it is again. But so anyway, the towers you see are how some of the queens are laying. So some of these queens are really laying very, very strong, and some of the queens are laying kind of average. And that's what you get with a packaged bees, because sometimes those queens are early mated queens. From what I've learned, so maybe the resources or the drones really weren't strong enough. So I like to kind of wait for a second round of drones, because I think they're by then, what I mean by second sealing of brood, okay, of the drones. So after the first hatching of drones, a lot of people wait for the blue-eyed drone to start grafting. What I like to do is wait for the second stage of drone brood before start grafting. Based on my finances, I can't graft this year. I want to graft, but I'm learning. I have learned. But as soon as I get my finances together, and these grants are working out, I will start grafting from a lot of these queens that will give me what I surely will feel and believe to be a very, very good bee system. So, on that note, you can see here now my overwinter colonies. And the overwinter colonies also have grown in a way that I really enjoy, but also I really dislike, because that one there, that one there is the only colony that has basically shown me it's not really a dud, but what it's done is not allowed me to have what I see in the other colonies, and that is the growth. And these are supposedly overwinter nukes. I'm not really sure if well, let's say yes, they're growing, you know, but how are they growing? I'm not sure. I'm kind of confused. Leave me in comments. Let me know what you think. If these are overwinter nukes, well, compared to my overwinter nukes in the front row, okay, you can see the difference. All right, mines are already in 3 deeps, 2 supers, or 3, 2 supers on 2 deeps versus, what I've just done with these. Ones on the end, I definitely had to add 3 deeps because they are showing me a little bit of sign of being an overwintered nuke because those queens know once the flow is happening, they need to grow, and I've added the deeps for them instead of a super because they've shown me that they're growing really exponentially. I've taken brood out of these hives here, and I've shared those with my California Dreamin' hives, those new girls over there in that row. So my California girls are kind of showing me that, they're competing with the Vermont girls. So it's going to be a pretty good year, I think, for honey production. And I will see, but Mother Nature's not been pretty good. And, that's how it goes. All right. That really is how it goes. And if Mother Nature's not good, then you got to supplement. And that's what I've been doing. All right. Because without the supplements, it's just like going in a marathon race. Marathoners, prepare for it. They do whatever they do to training. They eat what they need to eat. And most of them, and most will say, yeah, I have a special diet. And that's what I've done. I put together a special diet for my bees so that I can get the results that you see. All right. And, I'll share with you folks these results. Basically, not really anything that's more than what I would think most people would want to use. So I've been doing this. I add at least a cup, right? And I'm not getting paid for any any promotion of these products or anything like that. So I use these products, all right? So this is really what I like to throw on. Even though there's bloom, I see pollen on the legs, I want them to, this is what I call brood food, all right? Pollen is brood food, so that's what I've been trying to throw on is a lot of this pollen. Even though it's coming in, I'm giving them a super amount. What does that mean? So each time I'm inspecting, I'm giving them at least a half a cup of pollen. It is a lot, but I want them to get prepared for the marathon, which is when the nectar flow begins, they can go get it. They can be healthy enough to fly that distance, that 3+ miles square radius to bring in those resources of that nectar. So when the nectar flow is coming in, that means honey is money, but also nectar is good for them because the nectar is great for the colony, great for the drones that will mate with the virgin queens, etc. So love to use that pollen. My next fun stuff I like to use is this complete. I'm not getting paid for any of this, folks, but this is a great product. Dr. Carlson, okay, this Bee Complete is really done well for my colonies. As you can see, folks, no advertisement. I'm not getting paid for doing this, but I give this when I do see that I see all the time because I'm inspecting. So I spray them, give them a nice soak so that they can then groom themselves, drink it down, share it with themselves, and if people know already, the nurse bees will then share it with the up and coming new members of the colony who will be that larva becoming the new members of the colony. So yes, I do that, and I don't wait for dearth. I might add a little bit of the complete, which is a little additive to the the bee cleanse. All right, so the bee cleanse I'll add. I understand it's good for the dearth. What does that mean? I've looked up what it means. I think you folks should do it because I'm not getting paid for this. But I add that with the complete, and I also use a Hive Alive liquid. Um, so that is my little tricks of the trade, and I'll give you. So yes, I'll use a little bit of the Hive Alive liquid. I'm not getting paid for this as well. So that's my little blend to make sure that they're getting what they need, so that they can keep growing, so that I can make sure they're ready for the marathon, which is getting that nectar, doing the nectar flow, and also so that they can keep growing and bringing in that honey. Yeah, this is Farmer James Mountainside Beekeeping. Hey, folks, I'm just sharing to you a little bit of my tricks of what I do to get the bees growing. And we are in the stretch, man. This is like the end of June. Next week is July. Wow. Woohoo! Come on, bees. Come on, ladies. Let's do it. This is it. A lot of sumac blooming. We got a lot of stuff blooming right now. We have a lot of things that are happening, which is great because that's helping with the nectar flow. That's helping with whatever they need to keep growing so that we can see how they have been growing to get to be the bees that they need to be, because Vermont in mountainside beekeeping, folks, it's not a long time. We don't have that southern, 3, 4 months, nectar flow here, uh, blah, blah, blah. All right. We just got a really short time period. So I want to get them growing just like I try to get my vegetables growing fast, fast, fast. And these are, natural. I also been feeding leftover honey from the dead outs. I still have at least 100 pounds of that. So been feeding that to them, and they've been using it. They've been drinking it down. Um, and I haven't fed these bees yet anything. I do have some microbites. Again, I'm not getting paid for any of this, but the microbites, I'll throw on these queens next week. They've only been for a few days. Again, I've added 3 frames of brew because I want them to grow fast. I will be give them more resources than they have. And I will probably use the Hive Alive bags on those just to get them going and growing fast. I want to overgorge them with whatever on top of the resources they're getting. So if you notice the dead grass, that's because I had time to weed whack. But up in there, boy, I tell you, because I had the grass, weed whacker, gas does not, they don't like the gas, and I didn't want to get them too growing, too mean. Anyway, Farmer James Mountainside Beekeeping, folks, hey, leave your comments, leave your name, whatever, leave your story, let me know what you're doing. I'm up in Vermont, in the mountains, and it's not raining, it's cloudy, it's not going to be sunny, and it's 62 degrees. So it's cold. But the ladies are working. They're not coming out as fast as they were yesterday. Boy, when that sun is out, they are out strong. They are out strong. And again, folks, I feed the bees a little bit of that supplement I just showed you, and I do that at least every 10 days. And because of swarming season, I've been checking my hives for queen cells, queen cups, absconding, supersedure, because I think I've had a supersedure. Okay, no absconsion, but a supersedure, because one of these walkaways they weren't happy with. And that's what happens. You might get a lot of queens, and some of the queens won't lay well, they won't lay strong, so you might get a supersedure. And I think I got that. But mostly I got success with the walkaway, the splits I did make. And the survivor colonies are doing well. And this is their second year. So we'll see how they do and if they make it through the third winter. Um, I'm going to use that pissy hive on the end and that super, and I will do a mite wash with them. Obviously, they're broodless. Um, they've been broodless for 2 weeks, but they're still alive. They're still strong. They're still going after resources. They're still bringing that nectar in. They probably made some honey, and I'll probably throw in a super on that end super because they're packing. Well, there's the summer bees, and they'll probably be around for another month. If they don't have any brood, they'll be queen. They'll be dead. Maybe one of the workers will lay something. I'm not sure. But anyway, Farmer James Outside Beekeeping, folks. Just let me know what you think. A little tour of the garden. The bee apiary has grown from, if you've been following me, from a little to a lot to even more. Again, Farmer James Outside Beekeeping. Leave your comments. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. I'm up here in Vermont. It's a nice, chilly morning. Farmer James, have a great day.